Hey guys, welcome to my beautiful world of clinical research. Welcome to our very first clinical trial assistant training. I am Ada. Some of you might know me as Princess Ada from Facebook or Ada Johnson from Instagram. So welcome. I hope you're as excited to learn about clinical research as I am to teach you about it. All right, so without further ado, let's jump in. So the very first slide you're looking at here is a table of contents. Okay, we're going to start with introductions. I'm going to introduce myself and I'm going to charge you to introduce yourself by creating your introduction slide and sharing it on our WhatsApp group chat. So about the WhatsApp group chat, if you're here and you have not been invited to the WhatsApp group chat, please contact me or any of my teams on any of our social media pages or send us an email at adajohnsonglobal@gmail.com. Again, it's Ada Johnson, ADAJOHNSON, global, GLOBAL, @gmail.com. Send us an email today if you're not yet in the WhatsApp group chat, because we're going to use that WhatsApp group chat extensively. So, introductions, and then I'll talk to you a little bit about Ada Johnson Clinical Solutions. I'll talk to you about our CTA training goals, the training commitment you saw in the flyers that you used to find this course and register for this course. I'll talk to you about the training durations and the tips for success. I'll define the purpose of a clinical trial assistant, introduce you to clinical research. I'll share the importance of a CTA to the drug development process. I'll give you a brief history of clinical trials. I'll give you an overview of the clinical trial assistant's role in clinical research. And then we'll talk about your homework. Yes, there'll be homework in this course because let me tell you, even if you spend 4 hours per week on this course, you're still going to need more time to do some research outside of the slides that I provide, okay? And then Q&A. So questions and answers for this course, I want you to ask your questions immediately you get them. Don't delay, don't wait. Use the WhatsApp chats. Even while you're taking this course, you're watching this video, you have any question, pause the course, go and drop it in WhatsApp and then continue the course, okay? Because I want this to be as interactive as if I was right in the classroom with you, okay? During the second week of this course, we're going to talk about the specific responsibilities of a clinical trial assistant. Also talk about the necessary skills for you to be a good clinical trial assistant. And then we'll talk about homework and Q&A. It's going to be very detailed, okay? Week 2 is going to be the longest week. I have a lot of slides for week 2. It's going to be where I pack all the information, because by the end of week 2, I want you to start creating your CVs, okay? Because I don't know about some of you, but I know some of you are here because you're ready to get a job as a CTA and start working. So week 3, we're going to talk about getting your first CTA job, okay? We're going to talk about education requirements. Some of you have already asked questions about it, but I'll go into a little bit more details. I'm going to talk about your work experience and how you can, tailor it to your CV to get your first CTA job. Talk about internships. I'm going to talk about desirable qualifications, such as this knowledge that you're going to get here, with this training, to know some medical and clinical research terminologies, to know about GCP. And yes, you're going to know what GCP stands for soon. And I will talk about the average salary for clinical trial assistants, both in the United States and in Nigeria, because this course is tailored for people that are trying to be CTAs in both the United States and Nigeria, okay? So I'll also talk about the factors that influence salary. So when you are going to get your first job, you need to shine your eyes, or as my Nigerians will say, shine your eyes, but you need to, be aware of what your recruiters or what your employers are looking for, so that you can put your best foot forward to get the best salary you can get. We will go ahead and review one CTA job posting, and we'll also review a sample CTA CV so that you guys can see how you can update your current CV or build a CV to be able to get your first CTA job. And then we'll talk about the homework. Yes, every week we'll have homework. Talk about week 3 homework, and then week 3 Q&A. As always, you come to the WhatsApp for your questions. So for week 4, we're going to focus on after this course. After you get your first job, then what? We'll talk a little bit more about career. So career pathways, any opportunities for advancement for the clinical trial assistants, including like promotion to higher levels, switching to a different aspect of clinical research. Other career paths in clinical research industry, such as clinical research coordinators, clinical data managers, and things like that. And then we'll talk about continuing education and professional development and how that can help you to move ahead as a CTA. About the top companies that hire CTAs both in the US and in Nigeria. We'll talk about criteria for selection, the benefits and growth opportunities that this career can bring you. And then we'll conclude. We'll do a little recap of a few things we've covered and then just share some final thoughts. Okay? Yes, there's still going to be homework for week 4. So without further ado, let's jump into week 1. So the first thing we're going to talk about here is introductions. Get to know me. Some of you have been seeing me on social media for years. Some of you know a lot about me already, but some of you are just seeing me for the first time. So this is the opportunity to get to know me. So I am Ada Johnson. It literally translates to the first daughter of Johnson. Yes, Johnson is my father's name. Ada Johnson is my identity. It's my business name. It's also my social media affiliations because it's my company name. My social media is a lot of times tied to my company. Okay. So I'm located in Houston, Texas. Yes, but I travel quite a bit. Last year, I think I did 13 international destinations plus local. I did quite a bit of traveling last year. But I want to say I do an average of about 10 to 12 trips a year. About 1 trip a month. And it's because travel is my happy place. And also because I work from home, so I can work from anywhere that there's good internet. Education-wise, I'm a chemical engineer. Yes, a very beautiful chemical engineer. I got my chemical engineering degree from LSU. I am a Uniport dropout. I like to identify as a Uniport dropout because Uniport showed me shiggy. And so I told my mother, I'm not doing it. That's a story for another day, okay? I went secondary school in FGGC Ikotu Bitong. I went to Progress Primary School. Shout out Festac and shout out to, yes, all my alumni, LSU, Uniport, one of my best friends actually from my Uniport days. Secondary school, FGGC Ikotu Bitong. Primary school, Progress Primary School in Festac Town, Lagos. More primary school because we transferred quite a bit in primary. When I was in primary, I did Miri Summer Primary School in Owerri. Shout out, I don't even know that school still exists. And then I went to Abai Nursery School in Aba. So you see, went out quite a bit. I was born January 15th. So yes, today is my birthday. If you're watching this on the day it launched, happy birthday to me. I'm a Capricorn. And we are known to be ambitious, and I'm not an outlier. I am very ambitious. So in the clinical research space, I work as a senior clinical trial manager. Some of my past role in clinical research is as a CRA, which stands for Clinical Research Associate, and a senior CRA, because CRA is CRA. So CRA, senior CRA, and I have trained several CTAs, several COAs, several CRAs, and even several CTMs in my time here in clinical research. So you are in good hands. Very ambitious. My ambition is to become a billionaire philanthropist by increasing income in clinical research and other sections of my businesses, including blogging. I'm also a personal growth coach, training like I'm doing right now, travel services that I provide. I do group travel as well, and then investments. Okay, my hobbies include traveling, of course, teaching, developing young adults. I'm very passionate about developing young adults, helping them grow their life. Writing, content creation, blogging, golfing, and reading. Family wise, I'm a single mom of my 2 children. I call them my 2 kings. Actually, King Alex is 20 and King Aaron is 15. Okay? I'm one of 10 children. I'm a daughter, I'm a cousin, I'm a niece, I'm a sister, and I'm part of a very big family, both on my mother's side and on my father's side. A little bit about Ada Johnson Clinical Solutions. Ada Johnson Clinical Solutions is part of Ada Johnson LLC, established 2019 in Houston, Texas. We create solutions for clinical research organizations and pharmaceutical companies to tackle the high industry-wide attrition. So our industry, people are always leaving and people are always coming in. So that is what my organization does, is to help train people to tackle the attrition rates. Create talent development solutions for CROs and pharma companies. We do training for any organization that wants to train their staff. We also develop young adults with clinical trial knowledge and clinical operation skills to help them foster professional development and increase their lifetime income, because this is quite honestly a very good place to be. I love it because it's a fulfilling career. We're helping humanity, but it's also a very lucrative career. To also spread the knowledge of clinical research to a wider audience and help humanity by developing the next generation of clinical researchers who will protect the rights and welfare of the subjects. Now, here are my training goals for this course. I want to build up, using this course, the next generation of clinical researchers. I want to help equip you with the basic business etiquette for global work environment. I want to help increase clinical research knowledge to support increased income. And I want to increase personal and professional development. So now my training commitment to you, right? This is what you saw in the flyer. This is what I promise to deliver to you. This is the value that I promise that this course is going to give you. You will get a detailed introduction to clinical research. You will get a brief history of clinical trials. You will get the necessary skills to be a clinical trial associate. You will get the job responsibilities of a CTA so that you know what your job is going to entail. You will learn the importance of a CTA in the drug development process. In fact, we'll learn that in week 1. In week 3, you will get to learn how to get CTA jobs. And then in week 4, we'll talk about career paths. Okay, so now some training information about the duration for this course and some tips to help you succeed. The training duration for this course is 4 weeks, but training can be completed faster. We're going to drop the information for the week every Monday. You can definitely finish it before the end of the week, okay? But I would implore you to take your time to consume. Do maybe 4 slides and go and do some research and come back and do another 4 slides, because this is information packed and I don't want you to have information overload. Okay, so I'm also going to give you a major tip. All the homework for this course is not going to be graded, but you should complete all of them. Okay, it's for your own good. If you are very serious about getting a job at the end of this course, you must complete all assigned homeworks because they're for the purpose of preparing you to get a job. Get very comfortable with using Google and any other free resources to get answers to your clinical research question. If any question come up in your head, type it in Google. You'll be surprised how much answers you can get on Google. But of course, we're going to have our WhatsApp group chat, so please use it. You can ask any questions on the WhatsApp group chat at any time. Don't worry about me whether I'm sleeping or not. If I'm sleeping, you can send your message. I won't even hear it. So send your message at any time. There will be 4 office hours for this course, okay? We're going to do it about once a month. And this office hours will be a live session. So the WhatsApp will give you opportunity to ask your questions on chat, right? But the live session will give you opportunity to ask your questions one-on-one live. And I'm telling you, don't miss any of those live sessions, because you can think that the other classmates will show up, but they might not show up. And if nobody shows up for a scheduled live session, I can't answer a question I don't have, right? And even if every other person shows up and you don't show up, they might not ask your question. So please, guys, do not miss. It's only 4 hours, this live session. So it's 1 hour for each session. So these are 4 hours that you have to get live answers for this course. Do not miss it, okay? Now, let us give you some introduction to clinical research. Yay, my favorite part. So, clinical research is a study of the safety and efficacy. And efficacy means effectiveness of new drugs, okay? New drugs, therapies, new medical devices like IUD or, pacemakers or things like that, okay? Clinical research is different from laboratory research because it involves human beings, people who volunteer to help us understand these new medicines. Laboratory research typically does not involve human beings. It could involve lab rats or any other animals, but it doesn't involve human beings. So that's what makes clinical research unique, okay? In clinical research, laboratory research are often called preclinical research because clinical research happens after the drug has undergone laboratory research. So we call lab research preclinical, which means before clinical. Okay? Every drug right now in 2024, every drug, every medical device, tool, diagnostic test, for example, the COVID test that we have been using to detect whether we have COVID or not, all these things went through clinical research. All this technique, all this technology, all those drugs that is used in medicine today was once tested on volunteers who took part in clinical research studies to help us know more about that drug. Clinical research helps humanity by improving the medical care for people across the world. I have worked as a CRA. I worked in cancer oncology for several years, and it gave me a very good feeling to be using new technology to help people who are essentially in the last stage of cancer, to be able to have a second leash on life, a second lease on life, by testing out new drug and seeing that it worked for them. It's a very good feeling. So this is a very good career. Find it very fulfilling. So a brief history of clinical trials. Clinical trials have a very long history that dates back to the early 1700s. So it's been around for hundreds of years. So early 1700, a Scottish surgeon named James Lind conducted one of the first recorded clinical trials, and it was just a very simple study. He studied the effects of various remedies on scurvy. So scurvy is the lack of the vitamin C deficiency. Sometimes it gives you like blisters in your mouth and stuff. So he studies different remedies for scurvy among sailors, and he found that citrus fruits, so orange or lemon, lime, citrus fruits, were effective in preventing the disease. Okay, so just that test, even for my Nigerians, sometimes you are sick and you can't afford to go to the doctor, so you are testing different drugs. That's not clinical trial, because those drugs have already been tried and tested for different things. You just don't know what's wrong with you. That's different. But anyway, that was the first clinical trial. In the centuries that followed, clinical trials have evolved, and now it's definitely way more complex than that. Okay, we have a lot of we have a lot of different disciplines that help us to conduct clinical trials today. Times in history when human experimentation violated the principles of medical ethics. Okay, such practices have included like denying patients the right to informed consent. And for this slide, everything that you see that's underlined, it's me encouraging you to Google it. Okay? If something is underlined, Google it. Learn more about it. This unethical human experimentation led to the introduction of new regulations, new guidelines for clinical research. One of those guidelines is the Declaration of Helsinki, and another one is Good Clinical Practice, popularly known as GCP. They have both helped to ensure that studies are conducted ethically and in compliance with the regulatory standards. Okay, the Declaration of Helsinki, developed by World Medical Association, is widely regarded as the cornerstone document for human research ethics. Okay? Okay? So, more on the history of clinical research and more on ethical clinical trials. Some other important regulations and guidelines in history of clinical research include the Nuremberg Code. So the Nuremberg Code was developed after the war in response to the Nazi experiments. There was also torturing of people under the guise of research. Around World War II, Imperial Japan and Nazi Germany carried out brutal experiments on prisoners and civilians through groups like the Unit 731 or individuals like Joseph Mengele. You can read more about this if you want to go a little bit deeper, but essentially the big takeaway here is that a lot of people did unethical human experimentation, and that is why we have the guidelines we have today. Okay, so the Nuremberg Code was because of the Nazi experiments. 1979, okay, we had the Belmont Report and also the establishment of the Office for Human Research Protection, OHRP, here in America. And this was because of American abuses during the Project MK Ultra and the Tuskegee syphilis experiments. Very terrible things in history. Please, I encourage you to go and read more about this unethical human research. So today, clinical trials are part of the drug development process, and they are conducted worldwide to advance medical treatments and improve patient outcomes, and they are done ethically. Where we are today, clinical trials is heavily regulated, and we have only ethical human experimentation allowed. So some of the things that you need to note is ICH GCP, International Conference on Harmonization. They wrote these good clinical practice guidelines, and this is a huge document. You can download it online. The current version is E6R3. So if you just go on Google and you type ICH GCP guideline E6R3, you're going to see the latest GCP. I encourage you to download that document. I encourage you to start reading it like a novel. That is literally the Bible of clinical research. So now, the Food and Drug Administration, which is called the FDA, and the Medicine Evaluation Agency, which is called the EMEA, the European Medicines Evaluation Agency, That's what stands for EMEA. Okay, they are the biggest regulatory bodies for clinical research. So the FDA and the EMEA is just like the Nigerian NAFDAC. They regulate clinical trials across the globe. You also have the Data Safety Monitoring Board. That's also another regulatory authority for clinical trials. And then right now, today's clinical trials, patient safety is priority. I also missed the Institutional Review Board, IRB. These are all regulatory authorities that hold you accountable when you're doing clinical research. In Europe, the IRB is not American. In Europe, it's called the Ethics Committee or International Ethics Committee. An overview of clinical trial assistant's role in clinical trials. Okay, what is a CTA's role in clinical trial? A CTA's role in clinical trials, and CTA stands for Clinical Trial Assistant. Write that down, okay? So a CTA's role in clinical trials is to provide support to the clinical research team to ensure that the study is conducted efficiently and in compliance with the regulatory guidelines. Okay, our CTAs are responsible for performing administrative tasks, coordinating activities, and maintaining study documents. Now, as a CTA, you hold an essential position within the clinical operations team. This might be at a pharmaceutical company, so your employer can be the pharma company that make the drugs. Your employer can be what we call Clinical Research Organization, CRO, or your employer can be a clinical research unit in a university hospital. So the CTA is responsible for supporting clinical drug research and development tasks. You work very closely with the clinical research associates. You work closely, and the CRA is the person who monitors the progress of the study. Right? You work very closely with them. You work closely with myself, the clinical trial manager. I manage the operations for the clinical trial. And then you also work closely with the clinical project manager. You may also work with research nurses, researchers, and doctors if you are in a hospital setting. Now, you have an important task. During startup, sending documents digitally, tracing, doing administration, as well as saving essential documents. So we will talk about what essential document is. They are typically regulatory documents that are essential to the part of their job. Is also working with case report forms or collecting CVs, like I just told you, from the doctor or different site staff before the trial starts. They can work on study protocols, they can work on investigative brochures, they can work on informed consent, and they can work on shipping study supplies to the site, and also filling important records related to side effects of the drug. So the CTA does a lot of different tasks. It really just depends on the team, the kind of company they work for. Is it a pharma company? Is it a CRO? Is it a university teaching hospital? You are important. The CTA is very, very vital to the study team. And some of the importance of the CTA to the drug development process. Clinical trial assistants, they are essential to clinical trials. They help us ensure that studies are conducted efficiently, ethically, and in compliance with regulatory guidelines. By performing administrative tasks, the CTA frees up time for other clinical research professionals like myself. I can't imagine doing my work without the CTA. So by doing the administrative tasks, they free up time for myself and my CRAs to be able to focus on more complex tasks, such as data analysis, interpretation of study results, and of course, if they're in a hospital setting, patient care. Without our CTAs, clinical trials will be much more challenging to manage and to run, and the drug development process will be slowed down. So you are a vital part of clinical research, and that is why we need you to join our teams. This is the end of week 1. For your homework, I want you to create a list of 100 clinical research acronyms. See below some acronyms You have IRB, which we talked about, the Institutional Review Board. Who are they? The CTA, the Clinical Trial Assistant. That's you. The CRA, the Clinical Research Assistant. Okay, so those are 3 acronyms. And I want to challenge you, more than just putting acronyms down, understand what those acronyms mean. So not just that the CRA stands for Clinical Research Associate. Who is a Clinical Research Associate? Google it, okay? And then start writing down every acronym you hear during the training. So for this week, as you finish this week course, clap for yourself. Go and you can do a sheet of paper, but I advise you to use your phone. You know, almost every phone, whether it's Android or iPhone, has a notepad. Use your phone's notepad. You can even create a table there, right? You put on one column the acronym, on the next column what the acronym stands for, and on the third column the definition of that acronym. So for example, a CTA stands for Clinical Trial Assistant. Who is a Clinical Trial Assistant? Now go to your notes, go to the slides from this week and write that down. The same thing for all the acronyms I've given you and all the acronyms you're going to go find yourself, right? And for the overachievers among us, I hope we have some overachievers here, because that's me, I'm an overachiever, yes. So go one step further and use flashcards to begin to memorize some of these commonly used acronyms, because you want to make an impression during your job interview. These jobs are there, but just like anything in life, you have to impress the interviewer. Just imagine going to a job interview, you don't even know what CTA stands for. Meanwhile, you're there to apply for a CTA job. It's not going to look good now, right? So the commonly used acronyms, start memorizing them. Get flashcards anyhow that you can use to remember those acronyms. Start working on it, okay? And that is the end of week 1, guys. If you have any questions, please go drop it on the WhatsApp chat right away. And I look forward to interacting with you for week 1 and also to joining you for week 2. All right, bye for now.